Hi there, I'm Susan McGarry, and I've seen a few videos online for making these face masks for COVID-19 out of HEPA filter vacuum bags, and a couple of items you probably have around the house. In the description below, there is a link to a video by Dr. Southworth. Watch that if you want to know the science behind this. These are my vacuum bags. They are light brown in color. Next, I needed a pattern, and I found several online. Now, some are sewn side to side, like from ear to ear, and that's the style that Dr. Southworth uses. And some are sewn from nose to chin, and I like that style, but I wanted to make it a bit longer on the sides. So I made a pattern, but I also modified it a little bit by trimming off a bit from the front of it. I thought it was a little too deep, a little too long, but then extended out those sides. So this is the pattern I came up with, and there's also a link to this in the description below. So the first thing I needed to do was cut open the vacuum bag and remove that cardboard piece that attaches it to the vacuum. And initially I was really careful and tried to open up that pleat and not disturb the seam in the vacuum bag. But I later decided I didn't want that seam on the mask, so I changed the design. You'll see that. So you can see here the first one I made had the writing on the side, and it had that dark brown seam down the middle of it from the seam on the vacuum bag. The second mask I made still had that dark brown seam down the middle, and I wanted to change that. I was able to cut 3 more masks from this one vacuum bag, and I changed the design a little bit to get rid of that brown seam, but that also allowed me to cut more masks out of one vacuum bag. So here are the supplies for one mask. I cut 2 pieces from the vacuum bag. I have a 4-inch piece of craft wire, and I curled the ends of that, and then I have 2 8-inch pieces of elastic. So for the mask with the printing on it, I also cut out 2 pieces of fabric with the same pattern. So here they are, ready to be sewn. So first put the 2 pieces right sides together, and for my brown bag that means the 2 brown pieces face to face. Now sew down that dotted line. This is what it looks like after it's been sewn, and after it's been turned right side out. And I want to point out that the shorter side is where the nose goes and the longer side is where the chin goes. Next, create a little pocket over the bridge of the nose for the craft wire. And I did this by starting at that center seam and sewing down towards the end, but at about 2 inches I left a little hole there, a little gap, so I could insert the craft wire. Now repeat that on the other side, and I left a little opening on that side also. You can insert the craft wire now, or you can do that at the very end. Next, I sewed along the bottom edge to hold the layers together. I didn't bother to fold it over. Next, fold down the end and sew it down, and do that on both sides. This is the opening for the elastic. Now you can thread the elastic through. Tie a slip knot in the ends of the elastic. Then I hid the knots inside those little pockets, and this is the finished piece. It took about 15 minutes from beginning to end. So for the one with the writing, I decided to add fabric to it to cover up the writing. So I needed to cut 2 additional pieces of fabric, and this is the order of the layout with right sides together. Now it's important that you don't use pins in this process, so it's a little tougher to sew. So this is what it looks like after it's been sewn, and this is what it looks like after it's been turned. I did the same pocket over the nose for the craft wire, but since my fabric was white, I changed the bobbin to white. Then I sewed along the bottom edge to hold the layers together, but I didn't fold it over. So if you're concerned about that cotton fabric on the front fraying, you can use fray check or even white glue if that's all you have. Now fold in the ends and sew it, and then add the elastic, and it's all done. So these are the 5 masks that I was able to make out of one vacuum bag. And remember, if you want to know the science behind it, watch Dr. Southworth's video. The link is in the description below. So here I am wearing the mask with the vacuum bag seam, and the ones that I sewed down the front fit exactly the same. And you'll see it sucks into my mouth when I breathe, which means it's a good fit. And the craft wire on the bridge of the nose is doing a good job. So here I'm wearing the mask where I've sewn the front seam together. And then here is the mask that I covered in fabric. So it's a better alternative than no mask at all. So be safe out there. Thanks for watching, and be cool, honey bunnies. Bye.